This is my response to Tara's question set 3. Who should write history? Question 7. Who should write history books that discuss the genocide or other national tragedies? I think that we live in a time of, more connected information. So I think that, history books should be written by people in academia that, academics now, and if you release a book, with inconsistencies, if enough people see it, you're going to get called out on it. You have to source your information, and with the internet now, it's easy for somebody who knows more about the subject on the other side of the country, or even on the other side of the world, that they can read what was written. Kind of, recorded history has been written down for the most part, and we're able to source things for the most part. And I think, especially with the internet and the spread of social media and how fast information travels, I think that can kind of, and other academics can kind of keep that sort of thing in check. So people that know the topic, I think, and are responsible for writing academic books, should take care of that. But just be kept in check by our society and our stream of information. Question 8: How would dramatic increases in poverty and orphan children impact education? I think that dramatic increases in poverty and orphan kids. I think part of education starts at home. Kids should have some skills developed in speaking, and maybe even a little bit reading before they even get to school. There's this saying that kids are better. Kids in poverty, their brains develop something like 30% slower, and sometimes kids in poverty, their brains don't fully develop properly. Also, to address kids that are in poverty, take more resources, and with school districts, even here in Wisconsin, are kind of scraping by. Having to teach more kids in poverty stretches your resources even more thin. And in terms of orphan kids, there's many statistics these days that talk about mental health, and being orphaned will affect most kids' mental health. So, and you'll end up with both sets of kids, you'll end up with achievement gaps, and achievement gaps, take resources to close if they can be closed at all. Question 9: How would an adult population that is 70% female change the education system? I think you may have a more, and forgive me if this sounds kind of sexist, but I think you come up with like a more understanding and compassionate frame, and I think that you would also have an education system that is better than that may teach the value of women better than our even current society does. I think women are still kind of discriminated against, and there's kind of like the wage gap, and they also have fewer opportunities, not only in the U.S. but probably to a larger degree in other countries. So I think that if 70% of any population was in charge of the education system, I think that it would just come from a more understanding, compassionate viewpoint, and hopefully it would mean that women would be a step closer. That education system would teach people to be a little more, accepting, and would prevent the kind of discrimination that we still see. Question 10: How would a national tragedy such as genocide impact the cultural value of education? I think any national tragedy, the first question is kind of, what happened? Why did this happen? And I think it kind of opens people's minds a little more so that they're able to, I think people are a little more open-minded, and they examine what happened. If there were some sort of genocide, I think there would be a certain percentage of the country who would be completely appalled by it. Obviously, a certain percentage would have had to go along with it, but I think it would really cause many people to reflect and try to figure out how can we educate people to avoid a tragedy like this in the future.